How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lo4f, and today I'm going to go and do the contract called Putting Out the Fire at the Storage 1. I don't know if there is another sequel to this mission or not, but it's numbered number 1 for whatever reason. Yeah, so for this one, I've got to go and deliver some water. So I've actually done a little bit of an error there because I didn't draw a line going round to the water tower. But yeah, then carry the water across here, and you can see you've got 3 storage warehouses that I've got to deliver 4,400 to each warehouse. So I'm going to go to the first one on the right, and then I'll have more than enough water for that one, kind of move some of it over to the second one, and then I'll have to do another run of trucks to kind of take, basically, if you've got 3 to fix, you can take about just over 1.5's worth of water each time, so 2 sort of road trains going with these trailers, and yeah, it'll get the job done. So for the first part of this mission, like I say, it's a bit of a long one, this one. That's what she said, of course. Yeah, I've got the Taygas, the original Taygas for this one. 2 of them on the old road train, and of course, goddamn professional is on board just for health and safety regulations and all that. And yeah, I don't think I've used the Taygas on this map yet. I've used the other Tayga, like the second one, Tony the Tayga. This one's, yeah, pretty decent as well, I reckon. Even I've always quite liked this with the custom muds. Other than that, it makes it more stable and all the rest of it. I kind of found that they this is one of the trucks they seem to work pretty well on. Not that it's too bad at the start, because I'm only driving along the highways at the minute. And yeah, still, what I wish they'd do is when you're in a road train situation, because it slows you down a bit, obviously in theory I could be going a lot faster than I am now. It's not too bad when you're going along the roads like this. You can usually comfortably sit in like probably mid high range gear. It's sort of, it'd be a little bit faster if you weren't in a road train, but it's quite comfortably in the revs where it's not umming and ahhing about stalling every 2 minutes. But yeah, if they'd make like the truck behind you just able to tick along at like full high speed gear, so you could just have your whole road train travelling at that speed, it'd be pretty nice. So yeah, just drove past that petrol station there. I shouldn't really need that yet, but like I said, I ended up making a bit of an error on this one. I also did this half of the mission a couple of days ago in the end. Was it a couple of days ago or was it before the live stream? Either way, it was, or the live stream that didn't happen, I should say. Yeah, I kind of like, I did this route for the first route, and then the second route I wanted to take like the southern road along the bottom of the map, and there was a water tower I needed to build there, so it's the mission I did the other day with the new Zix 566A, and yeah, rebuilt a water tower, which wasn't too bad, no regrets in the end. Got over that bit pretty nicely. I think it let me stay in high gear as well, which is always nice. And I think at this point I was just getting a bit distracted. I was loving the view, loving the road train, loving the giant axe in the middle of the roundabout. And what I should have done is turned off and gone up that road. See, I'm too busy looking for like potential thumbnails and all that sort of stuff. I should have gone up that road, kind of looped around, grabbed some water from the water tower, and then I would have popped back out of this road and just reconnected to where I am now, and then carrying on the route I'm supposed to be going. Even to the point, again, for like, I like looking as I drive across the bridges. There's the water tower in the background that I'm supposed to visit, that I forgot about. And as well, coming up on the right, there's Bandit and Lo4f did a mission the other week. Lo4f finally keeps moving over a little bit each day. He's finally out of there. He's had enough of the Bandit. He's done. He's going solo. Yeah, this is about now, I realised. When I got to the first warehouse, I was like, oh yeah, shit. I was supposed to pick up water. God damn it. So, I had to then drive both trucks back. I was even to the point like, do I just recover to the garage? Or, I don't really know. So, I drove this truck back first, to just before the roundabout, basically. So, a little look at my trailer turn round skills, or lack of. Yeah, so pretty much I drove all the way back to here, did a U-turn, parked it up ready, went to get this back. The reason I'm starting from this river, in fact, I made it all the way to the warehouse, like mere feet away before I realised that I'd forgot to collect the water. But I must have gone off and made a coffee or something. I quit and reloaded the game. I knew it wouldn't load me all the way back, but I was hoping it'd load nearer to where I was supposed to go back to. So that's why, like, when I just got this truck, it's already back at this river. This would have been the last time then it's saved, when I was on the way the first time without getting the water. And yeah, good old Lo4f likes riding on the back. I even went as far back this time as to this petrol station, because now I'd nailed quite a bit of fuel. I didn't come back to the petrol station for the second vehicle. The lead vehicle in a road train always uses more fuel. So now you can see in the top right, I've added like a little loop going round to the water tower. And to be honest, it didn't actually bother me really. Sometimes I'd be like pretty pissed off that I forgot to do that, but yeah, I was kind of like, I don't know. It was all good. I was enjoying driving around with a goddamn horse balancing on the trailer. It's a lot harder to get on these trailers if you pack him onto like the water tank that sits on the back of trucks. There's like a little sort of walkway running along the top of it, and he sort of slots quite nicely on that. Getting him balanced on these with the cranes, got to be a bit more precise. Well, you can still pack him, but he leans over to one side, trying to get him like on the sweet spot in the middle. It's a little bit more tricky. I think this yeah, where I'm cutting through now, I believe that's where you can make cabins and consumables, although I can't remember exactly the ingredients for the consumables, but it's a lot. I'm sure it's like medium planks, I don't know, a few other things. There's like 4 or 5 slots worth of cargo, probably at least, just to make a consumable, which seems a bit over the top, which I'm guessing probably going to have to involve some driving to the burned forest map, to the sawmill. Might have to get that freed up first, I'm not too sure yet. Should be in high gear, that's a good enough start. Oh, my phone, will you shut up, man? Every time I start recording it suddenly goes off like a lunatic. If it's not that, it's the charger cable beeping at me. Yeah, fill that one up. Yeah, that's what she said. These Taygas as well, these have been a pretty nice sort of, they suit this map pretty well. I think overall, even though it's a Canadian map, I think there's probably more Russian trucks that kind of suit this map. I mean, for a start, I've kind of been leaning on the side of like getting anything and everything with a high range gearbox over the off-road one and that, or the advanced special and all that sort of stuff. Now, overall, I really like the map. It does remind me of Michigan, Black River. There's a few sort of not like crazy difficult bits, but a little bit more technical maybe than like Michigan, Black River. But overall, yeah, I'm liking the map. But it's quite a large map, and the routes you got to take are fairly long, which isn't a bad thing, but yeah, anything with like the slower gearboxes, it just sort of takes a little while. So you can see now, I don't really know, it might, I'm still travelling in like high gear, so it's probably about the same speed. I didn't actually pay attention there, but I've noticed recently in some things when I was putting the water in the tanks, I'm sure I had a trailer, but it wasn't one of these. I think it was the one you tow along behind you with like a dolly axle. When I put the water in it, the trailer kind of slammed down a bit. Like, I've noticed as well, when you're in the garage and you scroll through the add-ons on vehicles, they seem to have added weight to various things. Like, it used to, pretty much everything you'd add on to your truck wouldn't add any weight unless it was the fuel tanker. That was about the only thing that did. Now I've noticed, like, when you scroll through a sideboard, that drops it a little bit, and then the crane might drop it a little bit, but more at the front. And then the fuel tanker still drops you down to the floor. The water tank doesn't. That seems pretty light still. But yeah, they seem to have kind of, well, I don't know, say fixed it, but applied like the various weights, the different things as you scroll through them. And I still like doing the road trains on this map. It's working out alright for the road trains. Again though, because it makes you go a bit slow, it makes things take a little bit on the long side. But the actual roads themselves, even though there's a few windy bits and that, they're sort of a wide enough sweeping arc that the truck behind kind of tries to cut the corners a bit, so preferably, yeah, nice long sweeping corners is a bit better. When you get it just all awkward and too tight, you don't want it too tight. That's the Lo4f knows. Anywhere where you can get a bit of a run up. Downhill's definitely advantageous. I mean, you get bits like that where you could just see that, and I think that's partly these tyres, but as soon as you hit that certain patch of mud, it's just instantly kills it. You could sort of tell then when the vehicle at the back as well kind of hit the same patch of mud, and suddenly the winch cable pulled tight because that was now going even slower. But again, the views and that on this map, this sort of driving I do quite enjoy. I like crossing rivers, I don't know why. Well, just again, looks good, it's pretty entertaining. Yeah, they still, it'd be quite cool if they made a map that was, as I've said before, more like the Deluge or Flooded or whatever the hell it was called, back on Mud Runner. That was quite an interesting one to work your way around. It's not quite having it in the high gear. Do they make trailers like that semi-trailer that's on the back? Do you reckon there's a way they could make it where all the rear wheels or all the wheels on the trailer are powered, and then you'd have like a 12-wheel drive truck? I know there's some trailers, like some of the big low loader trailers, or like, yeah, I know some of them have got like motorized and all the rest of it, but they seem to be like pretty massive specialized loads. But there's got to be some trailers in the world, isn't there, that are kind of powered, but like a normal sized trailer, just powered for like off-road capabilities. Or do they not bother? Do they just make a truck powerful enough to yank it all the way around the terrain? I'm surprised as well they haven't added like off-road versions of trailers in this game. Again, I'm getting too spoilt from all the mods, although it'd be nice if I could play the bloody things. I hope they fix it soon. The live stream next weekend, I don't know, I might just chance doing a live stream, but unless they fix something, I'm 99% sure the live stream isn't going to last more than 10-15 minutes if I'm lucky. And yeah, like I said, there's other people in the comments as well. Some people aren't getting affected at all. Some people, one guy was saying he's had his crashing every kind of 5 or 10 minutes. He's rebuilt the database, which I've done. He's re-downloaded the game, which I've done. I think he's deleted and cleaned up all his mods and deleted everything but his original save and all sorts. So he's having a lot more problems. At least I'm, thankfully, touch wood, is it seems to be confined to my mod playthrough. This normal playthrough, again though, I have still made it blue screen on this normal playthrough. For some reason, travelling to the Heartlands map on Phase 8 seems to quite consistently make the game blue screen. I've again been able to make it happen on this playthrough as well. I kind of don't want to push my luck much and test around too much with this playthrough. But yeah, it's for the most part, like, it's just the mod version that it's seriously inconveniencing me. I won't mind getting stuck into it. I've again had a little go with the AGL version of that new Derry, and it feels pretty good. It's nice. It's like a I don't know, it's like, it kind of feels like the version I've built anyway, like a sort of off-road Paris-Dakar rally truck kind of thing. It's got a pretty nice pace to it. I've just been drifting it in circles kind of round the yard while I was testing the blue screens, which I keep getting. But yeah, in the meantime, I've got pretty good at lapping the garage. Lo4f's colour matched as well. Although I went for the, I think it was a Tayga paint on the rear Tayga. Couldn't resist in the end. I think, is it this truck? Has it got 2 custom paint jobs? I've just always liked the orange and black. I think it's always suited this vehicle. Can't get an orange and black version of the Lo4f though. They seriously need to add more colour schemes. I know I would have run out regardless. I think I've got... how many loafs have I got now? It might be 230. Yeah, I think so. But well, I've got now another, say, 7 or 8 in my garage, but they'll soon be in use as well, so I've used them. There's a hell of a lot of points and roof racks and fuel and spare tyres that are scattered around these maps. So yeah, this is where I got to last time, when I realised that I hadn't brought water, which was fun. The loaf's leaning a little bit. Yeah, so I got, is it 3,700 litres per semi-trailer, and you need 4,400. So there's not really any setup you can run where you could bring enough on one vehicle to do one gateway, or not gateway, sorry, storage warehouse thing. So then yeah, transfer some from this vehicle until that one's filled up. I think I've got about 3,000 litres left in this. So yeah, I think 700 litres I used from this trailer now. And then a bit of a short drive up to there. It's those 3 yellow squares. There is a 4th yellow square appearing. That's just because it's one of those water boom things, and because I've filled it with a bit of water, it's trying to suggest that I could collect water from that, which I could, but I didn't really want to do it as part of this mission, because then unless you as well have got them filled up the same boom with the same amount of water, it kind of wouldn't, the mission wouldn't correspond as much to what you're going to have to do the mission. So I just thought I'll get my own fresh water supply for each one. And now you can see, I mean, this is like an example of the Tayga driving on its own when it's not doing a road train. Ticking along pretty nicely. Buckaroo in there because it ran over a tree. These things happen. It was close there, and I think I survived in the high range. But yeah, again, Tayga's a pretty decent vehicle, ticks along quite nicely. And then this is the second warehouse, which one of the rewards for doing this mission is you unlock these warehouses. So, I don't know, I kind of said it the other week that the warehouse is pretty much destroyed, so it's saying you can kind of scavenge pieces from her. We scared the shit out of that box, so mission pretty successful so far. And this is where I stopped the other day, and then yeah, because I decided I wanted to go and build that water tower, so then I did that as that night's mission instead. Got that done, and then now tonight I kind of built this setup with double Voron AEs. Got another goddamn horse with us just to be safe. Yeah, kind of a similar setup really with the semi-trailers. I tried the kind of way you do the fuel, the water add-on things on the back of the trucks and then tow in like the dolly axle trailers the other day, but there's no winch points on the back of the trailers, so doing a road train is a lot more awkward. So yeah, I'm going to drive all the way along the southern part of the map, up the left-hand side. First I'm heading to that warehouse where I just dropped the last Tayga water off that I've kind of, what did I have, 3,000 litres, so I've got to drop off another 1,400 there. And then, yeah, head to the third warehouse. And this thing, I mean, I'm still in high gear, but it ends up going fairly slow here, but it's probably about as slow as that Derry goes there, even when that's not doing a road train. I mean, to be fair, I imagine the Derry isn't really going to go much slower whether you're doing a road train or not. Take from that what you will. It's, I wish it was just faster, generally speaking. And yeah, on this Tayga, I think for this one I've gone with the chain version of the muds. What was that? I hear them birds in my roof again. They've been going mad recently. Like they're building another extension. Sounds like they're currently trying to peck their way into my house. One day, one day we'll meet. Yeah, I've gone for the chained muds on this one, and then the vehicle behind, another Voron AE. I've gone with the, I can't remember what number muds they are. They might be the third. They're kind of like a little bit rounded on the edges. They're pretty decent as mud tyres, but still, after kind of messing around tonight, I'm still pretty happy with my chained muds on. Kind of colour coded with a Lo4f as well. Again, the Voron's another one where I went for the red and black paint scheme because I just, it's kind of the, I think it's the one it comes with, but it's just pretty familiar. It suits it pretty well. And then the one behind, I've gone with the there's like a custom paint job, which is all right. Looks a little bit spacey for me. So I tipped over here. Wasn't really paying attention, but not enough. But I did land. I mean, probably thanks to the goddamn horse. Yeah, I was able to start my engine. I don't know why every time I'm tipped over like that, always reminds me of like that Ed 209 robot in RoboCop screaming when he falls down the stairs. That thing used to scare the shit out of me when I was a little kid. Yeah. I managed to self-rescue with the Voron AE really, well, by doing a winch anyway. But the Lo4f, he's a trained goddamn professional, so he knows how to flip himself up winch free. He earns a victory horn. That's the one. And then I could have just carried on, but I wanted to bring the Lo4f with me because he's a Lo4f, he deserves it. But also he's got fuel on him, and I kind of figured at least with this lead vehicle I'd probably need fuel. So, and I was eyeballing that gap earlier. That's what she said. I ended up loading him onto the trailer legs. It's quite handy with him on there. But yeah, I was eyeballing it. I was thinking, well, I could probably fit a Lo4f in there. So that was my moment to find out. And of course, he squeezed his way in. You see, he's not even blocking the trailer from rotating from left to right. He knows his distances. But it's certainly a bit of a longer trip, this one. I'm in an hour in whether to edit a bit out of it, but I'm not too sure. The video ends up being, yeah, getting on for 44 minutes, which was a bit longer than I was hoping for, but I don't know, it's one of them. It's SnowRunner footage. I was kind of like, is there any point in chopping like 5 minutes out of it? It just kind of then makes the whole journey slightly incomplete, so I've not done it so far. We're only halfway through the adding the voice. There's always time to fix it. And again, that corner actually went pretty well, just because again, like the vehicle you're towing behind you often like cuts in, makes the a sharper turn on the corners, but that actually followed me around pretty well. It's a bit awkward, that corner. I don't know why. In a lot of vehicles, I always go flying off to the left and hit the telegraph pole on the outside, but again, maybe that's why the vehicle behind didn't really cut in. It was probably skidding off a bit wide as well. And then yeah, this is the water tower I built the other day. It's the one I wanted to use for this half of the mission. There's me Zix. Overall, to be fair, that Zix, I've only used it really for this mission and had a little drive around with it. Considering it's like a smaller vehicle, it seems pretty decent. Now as well, by the way, I'm in high gear, and you can see I'm not moving like normally it'd be stalling, but what's happening is the vehicle behind me is kind of pushing me as well, so it's... The Lo4f has done that before, he can stop trucks from stalling. He's the one who taught me that. Lo4f trained, but yeah, that's I just thought I'd mention it. So I got this filled up with water. At least I didn't forget to collect the water this time. Finally that change vehicle actually reached. Quite often it never reaches. They need to kind of make the circumference of where that counts like a bit bigger these days. Horn, I was like, can I get the water tower and the trucks in, but some stupid sign was in the way of my second truck. Yeah, so cutting along the bottom of the map now. And overall, I actually quite like this road running along down here. I didn't really think about it, but it was the same footage a little bit of it I had in I suppose was it yesterday's vehicle with the ANK Civilian, where I had like a water just add-on tank on the back of the truck and ran it down this road as well. So yeah, it's one nice thing with a road train though, even like there where you kind of smash into the mud a bit. You've then got the, it's not always good, if you're going to start tipping it can bite you, but you've then got all the weight and momentum of the truck at the back kind of smashing into you and kind of forces you through the muddy section whether it likes it or not. So like there, I've got a bit of a boost from the rear truck. It was close, good old Lo4f. He kept us balanced. And it's staying in high gear for the most part, which is good enough. Well, as I say that, just about dies there. I just like the amount of torque and effort that high gear puts in. It feels a lot more realistic as to what I'd probably be doing, especially if it's not my truck, if I don't have to pay for it. Like I say, if it's a rental, don't be gentle. So, yeah, I imagine, especially if I was in the arse end of nowhere, I'd be flooring it most of the time, I imagine. So again, gets a bit boggy there, but the vehicle at the back is giving me a bit of a boost. I think this mud patch, yeah, is probably a bit too long. It's kind of, they're both going to be in the mud before it boosts me out the other side. See, there's plenty of roots sticking out of the water as well. We don't like them. So there's this guy that goes past my house, and he wears like a fluorescent yellow, it looks like a high-vis jacket, but it's like, you know, like a cycling type jacket thing. And as I'm looking at the TV now, I can see like there's a window to the left and a window to the right, because it's kind of like bay windows. And I can always see him go past one side of the window. You just can't help it. Where I'm looking at the TV, it's like his bright high-vis jacket goes past one side, and he always whips past really quick. Like he might be on a bike, but I don't think he is. But he never pops out the other side of the TV. And then when you look, it's weird. It's like some weird cycling ghost that flies past every now and then. But normally, like, just in the background, you can see a car or a van or lorry, whatever. It drives on one side of the TV. You just naturally see it pop out the other side. So when you see something that doesn't, it's like, what the hell? Where did that go? It just vanished into thin air. See, downhill, wind behind you. Get a bit of speed going. This section's a little bit... It's not too bad, it could be worse. I think if this was in Phase 8 it'd be worse, because all these bloody trees would be just where they never disappear and they keep hooking onto your chassis. At least, yeah, when you run over these trees they kind of do squidge into the ground and don't really give you much hassle in the scheme of things. I think though, are they the ones where if you winch them it might eventually like pop it out the ground or something after you've finished winching, it sort of phases through the floor? They might be. And again though, yeah, these are chained muds. Still feeling pretty good on this vehicle. Like I say, you can kind of tell from the rear vehicle as well, because it's sort of, it's probably in auto to be fair, I suppose, but it's kind of obviously driving at a similar speed. you can sort of tell from whether the winch cable is like tight, or if it's slack, or if the rear truck's pushing into me. You can kind of work out who's got the most grip and what's going on. And for the most part, this lead vehicle is like, yeah, keeping the line tight, so it's making a good pace. There's that pipe again that I'm pretty certain connects, what do you call it, the boom 1 to boom 2. And yeah, if it connected all of them, it'd be better. Maybe there was a way, I don't know, I'll have to test it out, I suppose. Because I was just thinking, when I first put the water in the boom 3, it didn't register in the other one or something. It like I had to mess around for a minute transferring the water before it kind of registered, so maybe, I wouldn't hold my breath though, they probably are doing it in like groups of 2. I don't really see the benefit of it. I mean, it's a kind of cool option. Again, I suppose it's better than not having the option, but I don't really know where the advantage lies with it. And yeah, overall I just think this road's a nicer road to drive. Going along the bottom of the map, the kind of where that boom 1 is, you can cut over, because there's kind of 2 roads running along the south of this map. You can sort of cut over, or you could follow it around. It's just like a slightly inner road going like circling around the bottom and up the left hand side of the map. But there's certain sections that are a bit more awkward. There's like a rocky section that's sort of like the brow of a hill. That's a bit awkward going over there. There's a steeper climb up the other side of the river as well that I just crossed. So yeah, overall, like with especially sort of road train running like this, where you are a little bit on the slow side, I think this road's a little bit less hassle than the going the other way. You're getting a little boost from the truck behind me again. I'm surprised I actually got this far in high gear, to be fair, because I've been through it a few times, even with like single vehicles, and it fights it a little bit. So I was just getting a little boost from the rear vehicle then, but then when it got to like the same patch where I ran out of juice, it kind of dropped back off again. So you can, that's where you can sort of tell like there's various different bits of the map and roads are kind of seem to be coded in. Once you fall into the next category, it just sort of automatically adjusts what it's going to let your truck do. So you can kind of work out where I don't know, kind of one style of terrain ends and the other one starts, based on kind of who's pulling who on the road train. And I think, yeah, I got to around this point, so it's time. I'll save the footage just so I don't end up missing a chunk of it. I've transferred the fuel from the Lo4f to my my Voron, and like I say, the lead vehicle uses more fuel 99% of the time than the rear vehicle, so this one was nearly empty, but the truck behind is not as bad. It's probably still got a good half of its fuel tank. And downhill sections. This is the yard that I unlocked, like, yeah, the truck repair square the other day, which I didn't really need it. I could have, but the truck's got like a couple of damage on the fuel tank and the engine, but nothing too crazy. There's another goddamn horse with a derry. Again, they start to slow down, but then the rear vehicle gives me a little boost back out of there. And then by then, even though the rear vehicle's getting slowed down, now I'm back on normal terrain, so I can at least keep it in high range where it's not just completely bogging down, like digging its way further into the ground. There's definitely wheel spin going on, but It's about as fast as it's going to let me go, so I'll stick to it. Yeah, it's pretty convenient that the Lo4f, how well he fits in that little gap. Like I say, the trailer can still turn left to right, like just, but it can. And he's still got 80 litres of fuel as well in his own petrol tank, so by now it's looking like I should be alright, I should be able to make it, but you never know. Once you get into a boggy section you start nailing quite a lot of fuel, considering like the relatively short distance you travel. Notice as well on this trailer you get like a spare wheel hanging under the back of it, but thankfully they haven't kind of implemented a thing where the trailers start popping tyres as well. Wouldn't amaze me if they tried sneaking that mechanic in. They try in every phase find a new inventive way to slow us down a little bit more, so yeah, it would surprise me if that was on the horizon at some point. When you take one of them to be like, we've got a spare tyre hanging off it. What if we make the tyres explode? That'll slow them down. Obviously won't trick the Lo4f. He's got plenty of tyres on him. Late on the turn in there. The Voron EE, it's not too bad in a road train to be fair, because in general it's quite a slow travel pace anyway, but the steering on the Voron has always been a bit slow for my liking. But it is a very solid vehicle, that's the thing. It's got to easily be kind of up there around the best vehicles in the game really, for this sort of size vehicle and all the rest of it. Yeah, transfer a bit of water over. I didn't have to do like a full tank or whatever, so I think I've still got a bit left in there. But now I was looking, if I wanted I could have followed the road, like carried on, but it looked like it would have been a bit of the sort of longer way round, so try my trailer reversing skills. Not too bad, could have been worse. Certainly it's a pleasure turning these trailers around compared to that bloody ramp flatbed. See, just in case you needed to see it, the trailer can still flex its way around with a Lo4f on there. Getting close with the steering, but tightened it up at the last second. We missed, I think I might have bumped off like an invisible hitbox on that junk pile sat there, but it helped us miss the tree stump. And then yeah, like just going to loop round this way, so sort of going like round the left way instead of the right way. Another road train. This time I decided to make this one the lead vehicle, just for a couple of reasons to be honest. It was just kind of curious myself. Like I say, this one's now got like the actual muds on, not chained versions or anything. As you can see, consider I'm going downhill here, I'm in high gear, but I'm now getting boosted from the truck behind, so again, I just think that's like a little example where I actually think the chained version of the muds on the other vehicle, even though he's also carrying a Lo4f, which, as I said before, is weightless, unless he needs to have weight. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty like a fine margin sort of thing. It's not night and day difference, but it does feel like they're sort of wheel spinning a little bit more. I'm still convinced you get some kind of secret little bonus going on from them chained. Again, it's got to be the mud versions though. The versions of chained you get on like a lot of the American stuff is, I think it's like chained version of the off-roads, and they're not terrible, but they're definitely not as good as the chained muds. Made it to this bit anyway. Another downhill win behind me. That's the gateway to Burn Forest, kind of on the left really, just the other side of that car park. And yeah, this paint job, I kind of like it. I think it's flames, but I think it's the colours, like the purple. It just reminds me a bit of like a space I don't know. Something spacey about it. This bit is where I rolled a P512 the other week. You see again, I slowed down with this vehicle, I'm getting a bit of a boost from the rear vehicle. Had to drop it down into the auto. And yeah, like I say with these muds, I don't think they're bad muds or anything. Out of certainly all the original muds when I was testing back on Drowned Lands doing the cargo container contest. Yeah, these muds seemed like pretty solid and consistent. I think these were the ones that kind of got effectively second place. But it was the chained again that just kept winning with the fastest time that I couldn't beat. And yeah, just I don't know if it's sort of noticeable. It sort of felt a bit noticeable when I was driving it. I don't know if it kind of shows as well on the screen, but yeah, it feels like it's wheel spinning a little bit more. Because I just think all the tyres act like they're bold, smooth tyres. They don't really act like big knobbly tyres. I mean, now look, the vehicle behind, he's got a loaf on him. He's on it. There's a goddamn horse of a vehicle. It's trying to overtake me. Trying to overtake its own road train. That's how keen it is. And yeah, get this one, dump the whole tank out of that. It's 3,700 in there, and then I need another, is it 700 from this one? Which I can't remember how much water I've actually got left in it, but obviously I didn't completely empty this one, fill in the last bit of the second warehouse up. We've got 2,300, was that? Again, it shrinks the screen so I can't really see it very well. But either way, so I've got some water left in that trailer. Yeah, job done. You get about 15 grand for the mission, which is more like it. I think 20 would have been better, but yeah, it's not completely stingy like some of the previous phases have been. And then yeah, like I say, you unlock, well, it says 3 warehouses and then it says access to location. I think that might just mean the warehouses as well, I'm not too sure. But I can't think what else I would have unlocked. And then these are the warehouses, that was the first one I dropped the stuff off to. And yeah, you kind of scavenge in the buildings, so you get 1 metal beam and 1 metal rolls from each warehouse, so you've kind of unlocked 3 of each, which I don't know how useful that is really, because I'm pretty sure I've unlocked metal beams and rolls from the railway station up in like the top corner, not too far away, but it is what it is. It's another mission in the bag, so that'll do. Look at the loaf, look into his eyes and tell him you don't need a goddamn horse of a vehicle. He's hooked his front axle on that petrol tank so he stays locked on. That's why he didn't give me any hassle the entire time. He stayed on there like a beauty. And was it this Tayga? Yeah, he's got his lean on a bit. Anyway, that's about it for today though. I hope you've enjoyed, I hope it helps. Thanks for watching, thanks to my Patreon members. Get yourself a loaf because he's a beast, and I'll be back soon.